Hey guys, good morning. Great job last week. That is just absolutely amazing. It's been just a big privilege to kind of just see how we've all grown. That's awesome. So this morning I'm going to talk a little bit about group enrollments because obviously we'd love to get group enrollments, right? I love seeing the bread drop on Boxer. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit about like how we do group enrollments. I'm going to kind of touch a little bit on the do's and don'ts of group enrollment. So the very first thing that I always like to tell everyone is make sure you're giving yourself grace when you get a group enrollment set up. Okay. They may go the way we want to, and sometimes they may not. Okay. So don't beat yourself up if something crazy happens. I'm on call. The next thing is don't look at this as money. Okay. We all know that some of us can go in there, we can have a group enrollment. We can write $7,000. Sometimes we may only write 1,000. So don't look at the group enrollment as money, but do look at that as guaranteed sit downs. Okay. Hey, if there's 15 people in this business, I know that I'm going to at least get to sit down with maybe 10 people to show them exactly what we do and how we can help protect their family. Okay, that is huge. So we do want to make sure that we're keeping it very simple. Okay, don't try to sell them right there in the group enrollment. Okay, the group enrollment, if we're doing a group presentation, let me say group presentation on that. That is just the reason you want to be able to do that is because that can build a need with an audience very quickly. Okay. Make sure that when you're talking to the business owner and you've got a enrollment set up, make sure that you're setting the tone for how this needs to go. Okay. Making sure that you're saying this is what's going to work best for your business. So let's say you're getting an enrollment set up at a Take 5 oil change. Okay, that type of enrollment, you're probably not going to get to do a group presentation, but you're going to be able to sit down with every single guy that's there. Well, I'll tell you, the week of the last week, Train More, I had an enrollment set up that I had been working on for a while at a tire shop. I did not set the tone in the way that it was. I thought I did a good job at it, but he was actually filtering the people to me. Well, that's not the way that you really want to do that. You want to ask for a roster so that you're able to talk to every single person. So out of those 7 guys, I think I talked to 4. Okay. If you don't set the tone, they will, and your participation may not be as good as you were hoping for it to be. Okay. Now, when we talk about, let's say that the only way that you're going to get to talk to everyone is if the business owner says, hey, we're going to do a presentation, and those you can catch up with those that are interested. Okay. Make sure that when you are doing that group presentation that you are building the need quickly. Okay. What I always like to start, if I have a group of people, if I'm at a fire department, for example, I always want to thank them for their service, first of all. So no matter who you're working with, thank them for their service. If you're doing an enrollment with a group of teachers, thank you for everything you do for our children, for our future. For our fire departments, thank you for putting your life on the line, even though people are usually fighting you for it. Okay, make it kind of a joke, but being serious and sincere. I always want to introduce myself when I'm doing a group presentation, thank them for what they do, and then just ask them, hey, I always like to start by asking just a simple question. Raise your hand if you know someone who's been affected by cancer, heart attack, stroke, or an accident. Keep in mind, your hand's the first hand that's going up because that is right there, and everyone is going to raise their hand. And, unfortunately, this is no different than every volunteer fire department I work with. Everyone knows somebody who's went through something like cancer. Okay. You want to this is kind of going back on that. But you want to make sure that if it's not a place that you're doing a group presentation, some people are really strong on group presentations. Some people are very strong on really getting to sit down with each person. Let's say that you're doing, like I said, an enrollment at an oil changing company, Take 5, for example. Make sure you're asking the manager for the roster of the people that work there. So, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5 to 10 minutes with each person, especially if it's a business owner. Make sure that during that you're giving them a buying atmosphere. Hey, Kyle, this may be for your team and it may not. I'm just going to take a few minutes to show each and every one of them what you're offering. It may be for them and it may not. Okay. But at least want them to show what you're allowing them to take advantage of. Guys, why do you think it's so important that you have that buying atmosphere when you're setting up an enrollment when you're setting up an enrollment for the owner with their employees? Why do you think that's important? Kyle's shaking his head. Yeah. Somebody tell me, why is that buying atmosphere so important when you're setting up an enrollment? Jim?
I'd say because it gives them the idea of what you're going to be saying to the employees as well. Like, hey, this may be for them, may not. So that way they have the understanding of what's kind of going to be going on.
That's exactly right. Do you think that a business owner wants their people to feel pressured? The last thing they want to think is that they are letting an insurance person come into their business and twist someone's arm into buying something they don't want to buy. So make sure you have that buying atmosphere with them. Okay. Thank you, Jim. I said get a schedule so you can talk to everyone just so they at least know what you're offering. They don't want their people to be pressured. It may be for them and it may not. Here's the deal, guys, our confidence in how we do that group presentation or how we're doing that enrollment with that small business is the owners or the business managers. It's their confidence too. If we're confident about what we're doing and hey, no big deal, this is how we're going to do it. I'm just going to grab a room right over here. It's going to make them be confident. When you are setting down, let's say that you aren't doing a group presentation, but you're doing an enrollment, right? All those breads that we get, make sure that you kind of organize the people that you're talking to by whether they're single parent. That's important. First of all, because when you're showing a individual the rates, they're lower. Okay. Your objections aren't going to be as high as they are. They're not going to be as high as they are if you were talking to a married couple. Okay. So that's very important. Let's see, what else do I have for y'all this morning? Bring goodies. Whether you're doing a group presentation or you're just going into the local tire shop, bring them some biscuits. Let them know that, that people like that. And it always usually attracts people. So let's see, that's about all I have on that. Just, the biggest thing is I see so many breads going through, and that's so awesome. We just got to make sure that we're, getting those people to sit down and talk to us and how we can help them. When you, also making sure, let's say that you're working with a tire shop. Okay. Know why that business needs what you have to offer that day. Okay. We know, after, I always say this when I'm working with a fire department, after 10 years, firefighters are 90% more likely to go through cancer, regardless of the environmental parts. Knowing what type of business you're working with, let's say it's a tire shop. Well, they can pull muscles, they're the oils and stuff that get in their hands. Know why that particular business needs what you have to offer them. Okay. So that's pretty much everything that I have on the group enrollments. But just the big thing is look at it as guaranteed people to talk to. Don't count a group enrollment as, hey, I can take it easy because I have 5 enrollments set up. Those 5 enrollments may pay you thousands and they may not. So make sure that you have your pipeline full. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So that's what I have for everyone this morning on our beautiful Tuesday.
Hey, yeah, Brandy. Real quick, would you mind touching on just like when you're at a group enrollment, like you actually are there physically in person, how to make sure that it goes effectively? So good example, let's say that you're at a not a group presentation. You're just at a Tractor Supply. The owner, Kevin Ballard, gave you permission to come talk to his staff from like 10 to 2, making sure that when they give you permission to talk to their employees, you don't just sit back in the office and wait for people to come to you. You got to physically, first you want to write down a few people's names or all the employees' names or get a roster, and then you just go headhunt each person. You bring them back into the break room yourself. And then when you get done with each demo, you personally go retrieve the next person. You don't let them go get the other person. You go make sure that you do that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So let's say you have a roster at a Tractor Supply. What I do when I'm out and I'm doing a retail business, I always just go through, I usually walk the floor and introduce myself first of all, because you're a strange person in there. They don't know if you're, a lot of people think you're HR and they're like, oh, I'm going to avoid them, right? So go through and just, hey, my name's Brandy. I'm working with y'all today. I'm talking to y'all about some benefits. So I'm actually going to make sure that I talk to every single one of you today. It may be for you and it may not. So you're doing a buying atmosphere with them, but your store manager wanted me to come in and at least talk to you. So when you start with that first person, let's say that first person is Allison. Hey, Allison, how long have you been at Tractor Supply? Get to know them a little bit. Oh, you've been here for 5 years. Oh man, I bet you really love this. You probably like horses. If you're working at Tractor Supply, you're liking animals. So what I do with all the Tractor Supplies is I talk to people about things like cancer, heart attack, strokes, and accidents. Last year at the Tractor Supply in Albemarle, there was a guy who actually fell off a ladder and broke his femur bone. Give to get, right? Now for you, Allison, if you don't mind me asking, when it comes to like cancer, heart attack, strokes, and bad accidents, who's the closest person to you that's went through that? Remember, when we're talking to the people, they are our number one priority. So you're talking to them, right? You're making sure you're doing that buying atmosphere. The one thing you don't want to do is say, hey, Allison, will you go grab Jeff? He's going to be the next person I talk to. No, after you get Allison protected, whether you do or you don't, you thank her for what she does. You walk back out on the floor with her. Hey, Jeff, I just got through talking to Allison. I'm going to actually grab you for a few minutes and share with you what we're doing. Hey, and hey, I'm busy right now. Hey, I get that. I understand. Let's just go take like a quick 10-minute break. They're giving you a 10-minute break on them. This may be for you and it may not. Just, you really do have to go headhunt people, because if you sit back in the break room, a lot of people are going to avoid you like the plague, unfortunately, because they don't know what they're saying no to, or what it really is. They think insurance, oh, I've got insurance, I'm good. No, you're not good. So.
That's perfect, Brandy. Couldn't have said better myself. It's so great because when you're approaching people in an enrollment, you're like, hey, I'm Caldwell Family Heritage. We're working with all the Tractor Supplies. We're offering all you guys really good benefits. Your boss, Steven, wanted me to talk to each person for about 5 or 10 minutes in the break room. You free right now? Let's go to the break room right now for about 5 minutes. So I love that. You just very assumptive and making sure you just cross them off the list one by one by one. And that's awesome. Yep. You definitely got to make it happen. So.
Yep. And sometimes your larger enrollments will take more than one day. And it might take a couple of days. But then the best part is then when you show pictures, well, this is why Sam got this. They really liked it for the peace of mind. Now for you, what did you like? People buy off the approval of others. If their peers are seeing value in this, guess what? They're going to see value in it too. So.
And one last thing, guys, when you're doing these enrollments, make sure you're getting referrals to other businesses and other places. So like, let's say you're sitting down with Brandy right now and you're like, hey, Brandy, so you've been here for so long. Awesome. You're married. Cool. Where does your husband work at? And he's like, oh, my husband works at Safeco Auto Company, whatever it is. Write that down. So when you get to the end of the presentation, you can get referred to Safeco and you're going to get the HR person's name or manager's name of that location. It may be your husband. And that's an easy way. It's an easy win right there. So, and then like, hey, so you're Tractor Supply. Make sure when you sit down with people, hey, where are your other locations at? Perfect. Do you know the manager of XYZ store, the one on Tryon Street, the one on Hildebrand Street? Who are the managers over those stores too? Like when you get inside one store, you just get referred to all the other stores and be like, hey, I'm going to definitely crush all the Tractor Supplies, but who is y'all's biggest competition out here? Like, who do you guys kind of compete with out here in like Gaston County area? Perfect. Do you know the manager of that location? Get referred to their competitors. Get referred to where their husband works at, or their brother and sister. Because when you're in an enrollment, they already trust you because their bosses let you in. And it's so easy to get referred to other legit, really good businesses when you're in an enrollment. So make sure you're not skipping over the referral piece. That way, when you leave that enrollment, you have 40 referrals at your disposal. That's just, you know, you don't have to cold call. You can just go hit up those 40 enrollments or 40 businesses and get 40 more enrollments set up. You got a full pipeline 24/7. So I think that's very important that people understand when you're doing an enrollment, you're stacking your pipeline while the enrollment's going on. And the best thing is getting them to text their brother or their sister. We had a client on Saturday. I was in enrollment on Blossomans on Wednesday, did the group presentation, got the lady protected, and I got her to text her sister and her dad. Her sister said no thanks, didn't really want me to contact her, but her dad was like, sure, yeah, get Kyle to call me. He works at a huge company up there in Lexington, North Carolina, and we set up a house appointment for Saturday. And Ed went up there and got him protected on a pretty good sized policy, and he works at a huge company. So that's kind of like an easy way in to this massive company up there as well. So making sure that you're maximizing each person that you sit down with, getting more meat off the bone, I guess you would say.
Yeah, that's huge. I know Kyle had said with me and Patrick, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. And I was like, oh man, like thinking of what opportunities I have missed with other people with that part. So that is very huge on there. Okay, guys. Well, it is 8:23. It is technical Tuesday day, but it is beautiful outside. So go outside, have a great day. So we can all see everyone tomorrow night for dinner.
Yeah, guys, be safe. Drive safe to Charlotte. It's going to start right at 6 o'clock. We have it for a few hours. The brewery, the Warner Robot. Drive safe. If you want to Uber, but make sure we be professional. It's going to be dress attire for Thursday. I'm going to be wearing business attire. I'm not probably wearing a tie, but I'll be wearing like a sport coat for sure. So business attire for Thursday. Obviously casual wear for Wednesday night for the team dinner. You can kind of just wear casual clothes, whatever you prefer. But yeah, guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. And for the leaders, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30 start time at the hotel. So excited about that. Have a great Tuesday. Let's go crush it today. So we can roll into agency days on fire. So
have a good day, everyone.